Alright, so this is gonna be my first video. Hi. For now, my name is Mateo, and I am 19 years old. I am from Chicago, Illinois. I know that a lot of people say they're from Chicago and they're from like suburbs, but I should live in the city. So a lot of this stuff is gonna be Chicago based and just in the city in general. The lighting might be a little off. I'm gonna try to fix that as the videos progress. First things first, I always told myself that I wouldn't be one of the people who made videos. I just really wasn't particularly interested in it. But it's been 8 months now, and I think that I've accumulated enough topics to where I can actually talk about things. So as I said, I'm 19 years old, I'm from Chicago, and I am Mexican, 100% Mexican, and both of my parents came here from Mexico when they were young. When they were younger, my mom came over for the first time when she was 12, and she went back, and then she came back and stayed here when she was 16, and I was born when she was 18, and my father was 27 at the time. So big age gap there. Made a list. I always carry a journal with me, so I started making lists about things I want to talk about. First things first, I guess, when I realized that I was transgender, I watched Boys Don't Cry when I was 12. Not a very age-appropriate movie, but being the only person who spoke English in my household when I lived with my mother, had a lot of freedom. So I watched that and I realized, wow, so this is what I didn't have a name for all this time. So since then I started just kind of researching it and kind of just putting it to the back of my head. I never fully came out as a lesbian or anything. I just always found girls attractive, and there was no way in changing that for me. What I just started realizing though was that it made me feel really uncomfortable when people referred to me as someone's girlfriend. I just thought that was the weirdest thing of life. My first girlfriend had only dated boys, and so I didn't see why my relationship with her would be any different. But that's the story for another video, I guess. I started high school when I was 14, and then I started my Tumblr when I was that age too. So I started my Tumblr freshman year, and that's where I found the Tumblr community dedicated to transgender individuals and stuff like that. Most of my resources actually came from Tumblr, so I'm really glad that someone took the time to put those together. Within the Tumblr community, of course, just a bunch of hate and stuff, but I'm not gonna focus on that because I stay away from that as much as I can. I guess the hardest part about this is coming out to people. So the first person that I came out to was a social worker that I was seeing in high school, because freshman year I was really depressed. First off, it was a big change going to high school where I didn't know anyone, and second of all, just the curriculum was insane at the time. And so I reached out to my health teacher and told her that I was feeling like this, and she told me that I could talk to Mr. Codd, and I did. I talked to him for all 4 years of high school. I don't think any of my friends ever knew that I saw him regularly, but I did. Not every week, maybe every other week, maybe once a month, every other month, but I did come in to see him quite often. And it was my junior year, it was the end of my junior year, and I just walked into his office and I was like, I have to talk to you about something. And he said, okay, what's going on? So we sat down and I told him it came out of my mouth. I was like, I'm transgender. I truly believe that this is something that has been with me for my whole life, and I plan on acting on it very soon. And I guess he was kind of shocked well, not shocked. He was just kind of like, he didn't know what to say, because obviously we had talked about my relationships, and never once had I mentioned being uncomfortable with being female or being perceived as female. And for him to just hear that, I guess it was a shock. And he said he was really proud of me, and he asked what my next step was, and so I said that I wanted to make a list. So I wish I still had my other journal, because I had a list of the people that I wanted to tell. There were about 20 people or so, and fortunately enough, I only had to tell about 5, or those were the only ones that I really talked to the most. And so I did that. Over the next summer, I just started telling, coming out to people and saying, hey, well, I would always start with a question first. I would always say, what do you know about transgender individuals, or what do you know about transgender as an identity? And I would just kind of listen to what they had to say, and then just kind of gave them my own definition of what it meant to be trans, and I just kind of explained that this was something that has been affecting me my whole life, and that I plan on just kind of acting on it. So I did that for a while, and then it was senior year, and I told myself I wanted to wait to transition until I was out of high school, just because it would make just the process a lot easier. I believe I didn't want to have to tell my teachers, hey, you're wrong, you're not saying my name properly, or my pronouns are changed, even though you've known me for so long, it's different now. I wanted to save myself that just cause, I guess, and because I never felt that my dysphoria was bad enough to trigger me to self-harm or anything like that. Although I did self-harm for a while, I'd never really placed my identity as a reason behind that. So yeah, I waited it out. Of course, teachers noticed some changes. I cut my hair. I started binding. Well, I started binding actually at the end of sophomore year, so it wasn't that much of a change coming into senior year. But I guess just a lot of things changed, and I started being more verbal about it on social media. I would refer to myself as male, and I guess people caught on. I only had 2 teachers ask me, actually. One of them was a student teacher, and the other she was subbing in for my teacher who was on leave for her pregnancy, and the other was my art teacher, my 2 art teachers actually. And it was all very positive. I'm really glad that I went to a school that was so open and very diverse and very welcoming. And that kind of just helped a lot with the type of people that I found myself being friends with. They came in knowing a little something about these things. So that helped a lot. After high school, I made it a point to try to research how I could start my hormone replacement therapy here in Chicago. And one of my first steps, to me, I thought that I knew that it wasn't necessary to see a therapist to start hormones, but I felt that as someone who had undergone depression and never taken anything for it, I just thought that it would be beneficial on my part to actually talk to someone about this, rather than just hiding behind my blog or hiding behind text messages to friends and informing them of these things. Because the power that I felt when I told my social worker that I was trans, I don't think anyone will ever, have that. Just being verbal about it for the first time just means a lot. And so being verbal for the first time with him made me feel as if though being verbal with other people was going to be easier. And thankfully, I stumbled on Tumblr again. I stumbled upon this one Tumblr. It's sqs-tec.tumblr.com, and what it stands for is Soyki and Soy Trans Empowerment Collective. They're actually based here in Chicago in the Pilsen neighborhood. I believe they have meetings every so often for the community and stuff like that. But I stumbled upon their Tumblr just kind of searching through the tags and stuff, and I messaged them and I asked if they knew of any bilingual therapists who had any sort of experience with the trans community, because I knew that my mom has always been very, I wouldn't say unaccepting, I would say more as like rejecting the idea that this could be a thing. It was always, I've never really had a connection with my mom. It's always been very playful, very joking around everything. So for me to actually come and talk to her about this, I thought that it would just be better if we did it in a setting where someone was there and someone was able to explain to her what was really going on. So like I said, I always thought it would just be a lot more beneficial to have someone who's professional kind of explain to her what all of this meant. And so I reached out to this Tumblr and I asked them if they knew of any bilingual therapists in Chicago, and they did. And they referred me to Karina Madsen, and I'm just going to read off her title because I don't want to mess it up. Director of Programs and Administration, Bilingual Couple and Family Therapist. And she works at Live Oak. I'll be putting down links and stuff if you guys need them. I reached out to her on June 24th. Yeah, on June 24th I reached out to her, and I saw her for about, I want to say 2 months on and off every week. And so what we did was we just talked about my childhood, and she had me just kind of explain my family dynamics to her a little bit. And at one point she said, you're ready, you can do this. Let's bring in your mom, and we can just chat with her the first time, and then the second time we can kind of work and try to tell her what it is that you want to do. And she made it very clear that this was a choice that I had to make, and that it was ultimately my choice, my life, and that regardless of her support, I was going to go through with this. And that was an idea that I had very clear in my head, and she was happy to hear that. I think that when individuals know that they don't have support, it's good to know that someone believes that you can do this. And so she provided a lot of help for me in that sense. What she also did was she got me in contact with Howard Brown, which is where I see my provider and get all my treatment and stuff done. So the first meeting with my mom was just supposed to be kind of like a icebreaker type thing between my mom, because like I said, we have a strained relationship, and we're still working on it. But I went in and I just kind of told my mom, my therapist wants to see you. She wants us to work things out, and I feel a lot better since talking to her, so I want you to meet her. And so she did. She came with me that one day, and halfway through the session, I told Miss Madsen, I was like, I'm ready. I want to do it now. Like, there's no point in waiting. What's the big deal? What's gonna change, like, between one week or another? And she was like, all right, we feel ready. Go ahead and explain to her in Spanish what you want to tell her. And if there's anything you need me to explain better, then I'll try my best to do so. And that's the thing that I loved about her. It was very at your own pace. And I really liked the ambiance of her, her setting. It was very nice. It was very easy to talk to her. If you don't have insurance, she does do sliding scale. I don't know how true that is now, because like I said, it's been a year. It has been a year. This was last year. So definitely be putting up her information as well. So yeah, I just kind of told my mom, and we both cried, and it was this big thing. But overall, I am very happy that I did this. My mom had a lot of concerns. I'll try to get her to tell me these concerns again, because I've kind of forgotten them. It's been a year. But she had a lot of concerns, and I'll definitely be posting these up as well. So yeah, this is my first video. I don't know, I don't think I left anything out that I wanted to say as far as this goes. This is just kind of an intro. I'll definitely be making more videos as I have time about just kind of the acceptance in my community, just how Howard Brown has been treating me, and the experience that I've had there, because I know that a lot of people have had very different experiences with Howard Brown. I'll also be talking about work and how that's going. I've had 2 jobs, well, 1 job for about 2 years, and the other job I was there for about, I want to say 5 months, and so I'll talk about the difference between those 2. I'll talk about my name change, which should be happening soon, actually this week. I'm going to start the process for that, and I'll be talking about my concerns about traveling. I'll be doing some traveling at the end of the summer. I'll also talk about school a little bit. I don't think I'm the most adequate to talk about that because I don't live on campus, and I'm not as involved as I thought I would be because of work and other stuff like that. So yeah, that's my first video. Feel free to ask any questions, comment, I'll put up my Tumblr as well, just in case you guys want to follow me on there too. And yep.